We've got Maduro, and the Democrats are acting like. Welcome aboard.
For the rest of the ones of people who listen.
We're at tens now. We're almost at 100.
Ooh, we're at tens of people.
So if you like what we're doing, reach on down, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and Jeremy would really love to hear your comments about how he's right or how I'm right on how he's wrong and I'm wrong. So yeah, reach on down. We'd love to have you as a subscriber. All right, well, back on topic.
Back on topic. Here we go.
Well, this is my favorite comment about all of this, because the Democrats, not all, but many of them are whining that we actually had the gall to go into another country and take out their president. And this.
Well, hold on. First of all, dictator, not president anymore. His term expired and he didn't leave office. That is a big definition for me. I'm not normally picky, but that one I'm picky. When you lose the election, and I mean, let's face it, we already proved he rigged it, and he still lost the election, and he didn't leave. That makes him a dictator by liberal standards, I might add.
And by the way, I'm waiting for the comment from somebody down below saying, well, Trump didn't leave and he didn't want. No. At the end of the day, Trump left.
Absolutely.
This is the best comment I've heard on all of this.
Okay.
For the first time in years, the Democrats are opposed to a Venezuelan criminal entering our country. I'm like,
that's pretty good.
Line du jour.
That's
line du jour. Thank you, whoever put that up.
Where was I at? But yeah, he's absolutely a dictator. And we can go and get criminals from other countries. We've done it lots.
Oh, yeah, we did. Like we said,
regardless of who this guy is, he is an absolute criminal. He has been indicted. He has warrants against him. If he was just Bob and ran off to Mexico, we would go get him.
Now, let me play devil's advocate. Venezuela indicts President Trump. Do they have a right to come in here and get him? I would say no, because here's the deal. We're the United States.
No.
And we're going to kick your butt.
They have an absolute right to come and get him. And to be fair, and I will be honest, we would have an obligation, in my opinion, to at least not necessarily turn him over in that case, but to at least hear out the arguments and to possibly, and we were open to this with Maduro too, to possibly allow him to go into custody in his own country and stand trial honoring whatever the sentence would be.
Well, here's the interesting thing, and we don't have the details yet, but Marco Rubio, who I'm going to be honest, I am not a fan of Rubio. I am not. I don't want to see him be president. I've never liked Rubio. I think he's improved because of Trump's influence, but I'm not a fan of Marco Rubio. However, he got up there and he said, look, we had extensive talks with Maduro and we gave him several off-ramps.
Yes.
We gave him several ways to get out. And I have a feeling we even said, look, take the money and go. Go wherever you want.
No, we did. We did.
I don't know.
Right around Thanksgiving, because I remember watching it, and I don't watch a lot of news, but when I'm off of school teaching, I tend to watch a little news. And I do remember right around that time at Thanksgiving that they had offered him to go to, I mean, it was a list of countries, but they were third world countries, but let's face it. They offered him to go to any of these countries. He could go anyone, and I want to say we even said we'd move his stuff for him. I don't know. That was out there that Trump said, we'll even help you move, but you need to go. Well, he didn't.
We did help him move. He's now moved into a cell.
Yeah, well, he didn't go because he believed that we wouldn't do it. That's really what the end of the day. In fact, there was just a recording of him in a car with some interview or something, and it's been all over the news. I didn't pay enough attention to it at the time because I didn't think it mattered as much. Now I wish I had. But I do remember him saying, well, if the Americans want their oil, we can give it back to them. And it was kind of like, wait a minute. So you're admitting you took our oil? You know, and it's not our oil. Don't get me wrong. I guess I don't mean it that way.
Our companies were there.
Yeah, Chevron was the last one to leave, and we talked about this, and that happened in '97, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I think you're right. 1997, give or take.
Yeah, and they took something like 280 billion dollars worth of what Chevron was rightfully owed, and courts have agreed, and I don't understand how that goes. I'm not a legal guy, but I know American courts said no. Chevron definitely had proper contracts. From what I understand, there were foreign courts that agreed. Obviously, Venezuelan courts didn't agree, or else they'd have their stuff. And so that was the big deal. And I think that's, from what I understand, that's what this whole Trump thing, Trump went under. Okay, let me rephrase that. I think they did exactly what they did with Al Capone. We couldn't get Al Capone for this. We couldn't get Al Capone for that. We could get Al Capone for tax evasion. And to be fair,
you're saying we couldn't get rid of him, so we could get rid of him on the drug thing.
We could go after him on the drug thing. We couldn't get rid of him on the government on the oil thing. And you're right, because they nationalized their oil, and that's a whole nother world. And we can't step into the courts of law of another country. End of story. That's the whole problem.
But we can get him on the drugs.
But we could get him on the drugs.
Well, let me show you this. This is, the Democrats, several of them, not all of them, but several of them, are whining about this. This is MS Now. Basically what used to be MSNBC.
Joining us now, Democratic Congresswoman Becca Balint of Vermont. Congresswoman Balint, thank you very much for coming to the weekend. Just give us your initial thoughts on the action that took place in the early morning hours in Caracas today.
Good morning, Jonathan. Look, I'm angry on behalf of Americans, on behalf of Congress, and most importantly, on behalf of our service members who were put in harm's way.
When you join the military, don't you accept the fact that you might be put into harm's way?
Yes.
Isn't that part of the contract?
And yes, and might have been put into harm's way. I think that's interesting. A family, I guess would be the right way to put it. People we know in the family. Guy was like a professional skydiver, and he was also a lawyer, and you'd think, oh, this guy's a quadriplegic now, and so gosh, must have gone horrible skydiving. No, he slipped off a curb and broke his neck and ended up quadriplegic. So the idea is, might have been put in harm's way. I'm sorry, might have. I mean, just getting up out of bed might put you in harm's way.
All right, here we go.
And this was not necessary. This was not legal. And we saw this coming.
It was absolutely necessary, in my opinion.
And it was legal. The president can do this.
Well, he had an indictment. You can go after them for an indictment. He had a warrant. He had, from what I understand, multiple ignored warrants. We have gone to other countries and gotten people for less.
Okay, to be fair, you put a warrant against a president of another country, they're going to ignore it. It's like, who the heck are you? We do an indictment against Winnie the Pooh of China, Xi Jinping, and we say, hey, crimes against humanity. He's going to say whatever. Go away, get lost. Here's the difference. We, as the United States, have the ability, whether you like it or not, whether you think we're arrogant or not, we have the ability to enforce our warrant. And we did. That's just the basic. And if Maduro put a warrant against our president, we'd be like, get out of here, because they can't. They just don't have the power. And that's just the reality of it. But no, this was not illegal. You don't need Congress's permission. The president is the commander in chief.
This has been the plan the entire time. It was never about narco drug trafficking. This was about oil. This was about minerals. This was about regime change. There is no legal justification for what has happened. I'm outraged that nobody in Congress was briefed, including our leader, Hakeem Jeffries.
She's outraged we got rid of a president or dictator who was helping traffic drugs into our country. The Democrats are in this unusual position, this really bad position of defending the drug lords.
Yep. That's the thing. You know, it's funny. It's like, I guess that's the thing that really ticks me off here is, are you really going to take a stance of you're against Trump so much that you're willing to kill Americans?
Oh, the Democrats are.
That's the thing, though. That's the thing that really kind of ticks me off. And I'm you know me, I try and see both sides. I try and stay at that 30,000 foot level so I can see everything at both times and try and take my personal opinions out of it, because I know I'm not Lord and governor of the world. I have opinions, and I try and keep my bias to myself as much as I can, although this platform allows me to do whatever I want. But publicly, you know, and that's actually to a detriment of people that I know and friends. They're like, you know, you need to pick a side. And I'm like, I don't have to. You know, but in this case, I have to say, I don't care if you're a Republican. I don't care if you're a Democrat. I don't care if you're liberal. I don't care if you're conservative. I don't care if you're right wing. I don't care if you're left wing. My big complaint here is, are you really saying that we shouldn't have gone after the head guy of whatever they call it, the Cartel del Solis or
whatever
Solis or whatever it is, that was absolutely running drugs into our country and guaranteed killing at least documented 2,700 people a month for years.
Oh, well, it's funny. I was talking to a friend of mine from work. I won't say his name. I really do like the guy. We disagree on certain things. We agree on things. Yeah. I really like the guy. You know, I consider him a good friend. But he was like, well, we don't know what was on those boats. They could have been fishermen. And I'm like, I know people who fish. My father-in-law used to fish. You don't go on a $150,000 speedboat going as fast as you can. Yeah. That is not a fishing boat. Yeah. And you have big boxes. That is not, hey, we need to get the shrimp to the shore before it spoils. We got to get it to market. Yeah. No. Those were drug boats. Let's not play dumb.
I mean, those were absolutely cigarette boats. And if you're not an 80s person, you don't know what cigarette boats stand for or what they are. But those were absolutely the drug running boats.
That the committees of jurisdiction received no briefing. And this is dangerous, not just because of what this will mean for Venezuela in the region. It matters for
I think I just screwed something up.
Moral standing in the world. What does this mean for Taiwan?
Committees of jurisdiction? Which one are we talking about? Because I happen to have paid attention today, and the Arkansas. Gosh dang it, I can't think of what he's officially from. He's the chairman of the Arkansas. Gosh dang it. Seth, get your Chat GPT out.
All right, Chat GPT. I don't even know what you're trying to ask.
Who is the Arkansas congressman who's in charge of a committee?
French Hill, Rick Crawford. Those are the only two.
Rick Crawford.
Okay.
That's his
the House Intel Committee.
House of Intel. That's who it was. Yes, they are absolutely. House Intel is who technically Trump has to notify. And even he was on camera today at like, I don't know, my time, like 8 something or 9 something. So it was right after Trump had given his press conference. And he was like, yeah, we got notified like right away. And it was well within notification times. I think it's 72 hours or 48
or 72 hours. The president has to notify Congress of what happened.
Yeah, and we were notified within an hour of the operation's completion, which I equate to Maduro being put on a boat. And so it's like, yeah, everybody was involved. Everybody knew.
This intellectual giant, the congresswoman from Vermont, she expects the president to get permission. Well, he's the commander in chief. He doesn't need to. He can do whatever. Now she's going to be
It's a police action. He doesn't need her.
She's now saying, "Oh, well, in Congress, we need to pull back and make sure the president tells us what he's doing. We need to pull his powers away." Really, were you doing that when Obama was bombing weddings? Were you doing that when Obama bombed a 16-year-old who didn't have a warrant against him because his dad was a terrorist, Anwar al-Awlaki? Were you complaining about Clinton when he bombed things? No, the only president these Democrats are complaining about is President Trump. And yes, the Republicans mumbled and griped a little bit about taking out Anwar al-Awlaki and complained about hitting a wedding reception, which, I understand, but it wasn't like we need to change things and pass a law to get more control of this because we've given it away. But let's listen to more of what she said.
That we believe that we can go in and do regime change, that we can arrest a leader and kidnap them essentially and drag them to the United States. What does that mean for Ukraine? This matters.
Okay. And I remembered to hit the space button this time.
You did well.
Thank you. Hold on.
If you really liked how Jeremy was able to hit the space button, hit a like, hit a comment, and I really want some people out there, because we do look at these comments. Tell Jeremy he's a very good boy. Literally, right? Jeremy's a good boy for hitting the space button. Go ahead.
But he had a warrant against his arrest. End of story. You don't need any more permission. You don't need anything else. The biggest problem was we couldn't send the FBI to go get him because the FBI has no jurisdiction outside of the United States.
Well,
so we could have sent the CIA. Don't get me wrong.
Mm-hmm.
We could have. We could have sent the CIA. Would the CIA have done a good job of getting in there and getting this guy out and everything? Probably not. They don't have that kind of power. I mean, you saw what we used 150 flight capable apparatus, meaning from what I understand, I mean, we used F-22 Raptors, which my son mentioned that, hey, the only thing they've ever shot down before today was the weather balloons, which I thought was hilarious. I had no idea that we really don't use those suckers unless we have to because they're so expensive and they're so special. And apparently we used those to take out the SAM sites, surface air missile sites. We used a bunch of helicopters because, let's face it, at the end of the day, no matter what we're talking about as far as flight go, helicopters are what get you in and get you out. End of story.
Mm-hmm.
And so, all the movies that want to show all this stuff and parachute in, somebody's got to get you out. Helicopters are what they want to use. And I do understand, from what I understand, two soldiers had gotten injured during this.
Yeah, my understanding, I don't know how many. I
heard
you guys got wounded. We don't know how serious. Oh, she's going to complain about that, but no one got killed. We'll play that in a second. But I do want to. This is something I want to say to her. And this is something I've heard the Democrats scream about a lot when it comes to leaders and say maybe a president. And this is a quote from something the Democrats were screaming. No one's above the law. That includes Maduro. So you know what? Kiss off.
Matters not just in this instance, but what it means globally. And this is not what Americans want. They voted for this president in part because he said he was not interested in more foreign wars. And this.
Are we at war?
Nope.
Let me throw this out there. Okay. A couple episodes ago, we talked about Venezuela, and the last thing we said was, Maduro, we know exactly where you are.
Absolutely.
We know where you are right now. We called that.
No.
And I actually was looking today. I'm a big fan of Professor Nez. I put a comment because he said, oh, no one predicted this. And I wrote, teachers in train stations predicted this on Thursday, and he gave us a thumbs up. I'm so excited about this.
I've got to admit,
Professor Nez gave me a thumbs up.
Professor Nez, if you happen to be listening to us, which I don't think you are, but hey, Seth screamed and danced around like a fangirl at a Taylor Swift concert. It was insane. And I was like, what the heck just happened? And he had to explain it all to me, which kind of killed the fun. And I get that. But I have to admit, you know what? We did call it. We did see it coming.
Let me throw this out there. To the vice president of Venezuela, who I guess now is the acting president. I don't know how it works there.
Yes.
Let me tell you,
same way it works here.
Let me give you a warning. We know exactly where you are. We know what you're doing right now. We know where you're moving. We have a beat on you. I'm just saying, put it this way, play nice, because the last guy, he's in a New York cell right now.
From what I understood, and I got to be honest, I wasn't paying so much attention. I've been dealing with other things, but I want to say that Trump had said that they had been in communication with the acting president, who was the vice president, and that she is cooperating and I don't want to say agrees, but understands that a correction of government. I want to say that's what they said, correction of government needed to happen. Well, basically, from what I understood is this is when Trump was talking about running the country for a while. Yeah, I don't think anybody wants to run the country for a while. Even Trump didn't seem like he wanted to run the company for a while. It felt to me, I mean, I understand everybody's going to read this differently, but it really felt to me like, listen, we can't just let them be, or else you're going to have some general that's crooked hop right in. So we have to kind of like hold them. We have to be the babysitter for a little while until mom and dad come back.
Well, they had asked him about that, and he said, well, we are, along with some people who are there, and he was very vague about it. And I can see where like the Democrats are like, well, we don't want us to be running Venezuela, which I get. I don't want us on the ground in Venezuela. I don't want us running it, but somebody has to run it.
My mom pointed out a meme she found somewhere, and it had Marco Rubio with like the sash for the Venezuelan government, and said yet another thing Marco Rubio has to do, and he's like sitting there all grumpy in some meeting or something. And I was like, you know what? That is absolutely, you've been voluntold to have to do something. We all know as teachers exactly what that looks like.
Oh yeah, and with that,
we'll see at the next stop.